Hey everyone, and welcome. My name's Aaron, and today we're taking a look at the Ohm version 2 from MZO Effects. I'll be playing my 60th anniversary Telecaster into my Jackson Newcastle 18. And here's my clean tone. All right, the Ohm version 2 from MZO Effects. This is an overdrive, sort of the kind of this transparent, sculptable, low gain, I would say, type of overdrive. Low to mid gain, maybe, with a few little interesting things to it. Right out of the box, really liked it. Very big, transparent, dynamic tones. For controls on here, pretty simple with a few little treats. We've got output here on the left, controls your overall output. You've got treble. And then over here, you've got your drive. And then down below, we have two fun things called timbre and texture, as well as this switchable bass cut. First thing is, this thing runs internally at 15 volts. And so it kind of has that powerful preampy boosty pedal kind of thing, which if you know me, you know that's what I like, because I like the way my amp overdrives. And so if the pedal is just pushing my amp with nice, clean, powerful, high quality gain, then I'm gonna, naturally sort of like that sound. I found this pedal has a lot of low end. It's like that. It makes sense to me that it has that switchable low end cut on there, because right out of the box, it's like, if I just play, I mean, that's like pretty balanced, not a ton of low end coming from the amp itself. Turn the pedal on. That's the bridge pickup on a Telecaster. And if you're listening on headphones, you can hear that's like a lot of low end in there. Almost sounds more like humbuckery. I like the bigness of the low end with the Telecaster, but if I was playing something else with humbuckers, that bass cut would come in very handy. So, I mean, even when you turn the drive kind of all the way up, you're still sort of in like low gain, mid gain territory here. That's not a crazy amount of gain, and my drive is all the way up on this thing. Let's just turn this timbre and texture down all the way. So with the timbre and texture all the way down, it is very like transparent with a nice low end right into your amp. Now you can add more compression and overdrive kind of saturation with this timbre and texture. The timbre is gonna sort of accentuate mid-range frequencies and pick attack, and then also add like a saturation. I found it to sort of compress a little quicker too. So this is like, let's just get sort of a medium chilled out sound here. Start turning up this timbre. It's a little more high mid-range in there, and it also distorts a little bit more. Turn it up a little bit more. Now that fizzly top end is really coming out. Turn it all the way up. So much like hairier. I would say it actually probably cuts the low end maybe a little bit. Maybe it's just an illusion because it's adding highs. Sounds to me maybe like it cuts the low end just a little bit by accentuating the top end. And then this texture is sort of similar but different. It's more like a compression. and it also adds sort of a different kind of clipping to the signal. So again, with this all the way down, it's like, man, that's big and very transparent, you know, as far as the clean tone. Start turning up this texture. It just sort of, it compresses quicker, it grabs it. It made me want to do that because it sort of evens out all those little muted picked notes. Compared to with the texture all the way down, that's harder to play, you know, so it's sort of flattering. So my favorite setting was kind of drive here, 11 o'clock, tone maybe just past noon, output just past noon, and then just blending in a little bit of this timbre and texture. It's cool to be able to tweak things like that on a pedal where normally all three of those knobs would just be like gain. And so as you turn the gain up, there's like maybe one little sweet spot, whereas on this pedal, the drive, it's like every setting on there is usable, even drive all the way up. And that's not that common, where you'll have a pedal that's actually a usable sound. So I sort of appreciate that you don't have to necessarily, you know, nail it, you know, quite exactly. It sort of spreads that saturation and gain out among these three knobs. And then that combined with, obviously, you know, output and tone, as well as the switchable bass cut, it's like you can really tweak this thing based on what amp, what guitar you're using, and what kind of thing you're going for. Just for kicks, let's switch to my Starcaster, which is a much hotter output and much darker, and let's see how that sounds. All right, so clean tone with the Starcaster. Now that is interesting. I've been adding gain here. It kept getting sort of bigger and more distorted until I added this texture along with the timbre, and then it almost sort of started caving in on itself a little bit. So there is a point where, you know, it's like, I mean, as with any pedal, it's sort of diminishing returns when you start turning stuff up too loud. But that was really interesting. So compare this. Just vicious to this with the texture all the way up as well. I mean, I guess that makes sense because the texture is that compression. And so you're not gonna get as much pushing into the amp. And so air, you know, it'll be moving kind of less air. It's sort of curling up inside itself a little bit, which may be, you know, a useful sound if you're doing something, you know, a little darker and up high, and you just want like a crazy amount of sustain. Let's add some fun stuff to that. Man, it's actually sort of surprising me how bright it is even with the Starcaster. I was assuming it was going to, you know, sort of be darker, but it's kind of adapting. It's just kind of taking that extra output, but it's still nice and bright. Even with like neck pickup, I do have the bass cut on now. That's the advantage of maybe having something like this timbre control. If I didn't have this, if maybe these were more fixed and I was going between guitars, you know, or whatever, it would be less usable. Hey, I really like this thing. The MZO Effects Ohm version 2. Brand new for 2019. Go check them out for sure if you get the chance. Really versatile, little overdrive here, low kind of to mid gain, and very sculptable for a variety of guitars and amps. I would be very confident that I could sort of get the sound I like, which is a little boosty, transparenty, pretty overdrive with pretty much any guitar into whatever amp. So really cool. Thanks so much for watching. That's going to be it from me today. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.